Missing someone. Love is all you want. Missing someone. Love is
So I wanted to get my gray blended so I could just grow it out natural.
So you're looking for something that is going to grow out a little bit softer. What's your previous color history?
It's always been dyed darker than this, and then I start dyeing it lighter brown so it covers a little bit of gray more and dye less, and then perm every year.
Okay. Was all the past color done in a salon?
No, I've been doing the hair dye, box hair dye at home,
Okay.
like every 2-3 weeks, and then color, full hair dye probably twice a year.
Okay.
In the salon.
You see how like white and more of a silvery tone it is compared to this one? So this one, it gets yellow within like a wash or two. It gets yellow really fast. So doing it like a little bit more violet, it's like more steely gray, it lasts you a little bit longer. That's why I suggested that we do something like this, so that, because this will eventually fade into something similar to this before it gets into like a beigey blonde if you don't use the purple shampoo. But as far as like the blend, you like how the roots look and then how the ends are a little bit more lighter. Okay, we can try to go for something like that.
So eventually in
And then
few years,
yeah, we can try to go for something more like that, where it's like not as light, like light pieces, a little bit more of your natural, and just some highlights to make it a little bit more. Because this is let's show you. Because this is your ultimate goal, so we'll work towards that eventually. But we gotta first get rid of the old color. So going a little bit more solid on the ends is gonna be more ideal.
and my question was, it looks like I have more white in the front than the back, so will it look even, or will it be lighter around my face, or how
So do you wear your hair up like this a lot?
No, usually I
Down.
wear a bang like this.
Okay. Normally, if the gray is a little bit more solid there, I'll just highlight this part more solid this first time. And then when you come in next time, we'll do it a little bit more dimensional, but because you have this dark here, I kind of have to do this part solid to get rid of the dark first. And then once the dark is out, we can start making it a little bit more dimensional, like your ultimate goal.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sure. So it's been 3 months since I haven't dyed my hair.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So here I have a brand new client today who is wanting to do a gray blending transformation. So our goal is to blend out her gray, give her a really soft grout so that she can stop doing darker color and that she can go a little bit longer in between her color appointments without making it feel like there is a harsh line of demarcation. So in our consultation, she showed me pictures that were, some of them were really dimensional gray, and then some of them were more of a blondish tone. But from our consult, we also got that she has color history of doing previous box color, doing color at the salon, and doing color all over. So I wasn't really sure how well this is going to lift. So I set up the expectation that maybe if we needed to, we would do something that was a little bit more ashy, more pigmented, in case some pieces of her hair didn't lighten as light as we needed it to. And prior to this appointment too, we did do a test strand to kind of see how light her hair was able to get, because she also mentioned that she used to do like a few perms in the past, so there is a bit of chemical history there. So I always like to do a test strand if a client has like perm or anything like that, just to make sure that there's no weird reaction. And after her test strand, her hair felt completely fine, so I felt safe enough to do the color service for her. And through that test strand, I was able to see that her hair did lighten pretty light, and we were able to do this transformation. But again, box dye is super unpredictable. Even though one test strand could look perfect or really good, you never know what it's gonna lift like all over the head, because a lot of times at color home is not as evenly applied as it would in the salon, or maybe the product isn't distributed as evenly, or could be warm in certain areas. So even though you do a test run with clients who have like previous box dye, it still can be unpredictable. So I always just like to set up that expectation that there is a possible chance that even though their test strand came up pretty well, that there is that still chance that their hair will lift a little uneven. So that's kind of where we were at during the consult, is that she showed me photos of her goal, and I tried to just work with what was going to last her the longest and get her by until she can wait it out until her next session. Because ultimately, when I'm doing a transition like this for a client for the very first time, and we do something that is kind of getting rid of a lot of this old color on the mids and ends, you can see that dark color, it's all solid. So today, like I said in the consult, I want to try and get rid of this color as much as possible, and then later we'll worry about adding and having that dimension. With that being said, because I'm going in and really adding a lot of foils in this session, I really want to try and blend it as much as possible at the root, but at the same time try and get rid of a lot of that color as much as possible on the very end. So on the very end, I'm going to be doing a lot of tip outs because I want to make sure that she feels more ashy than anything, because she does have a good amount of gray as her natural gray pattern. And with that being said, I wanted to give her a tone that was going to last as long as possible, because at the end of the appointment I did tell her that I would prefer her to essentially wait as long as possible before she comes sees me for her next session, which sounds very odd, but for me, when I'm doing these gray blending transformations, I don't love to add lowlights, and so I like to utilize my client's natural gray pattern as their lowlight and then just add highlights on top of it to really just enhance it a little bit, because less is more for me when doing these transformations, and I never want to add something that they don't need. So I chose to do a tone that was going to be a little bit more on the ashier side on purpose so that it could last her as long as possible. So really quickly, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm using the Danger Jones powder lightener, which has 9+ levels of lift. I did a first bowl of 5 volume and 20 volume, and then the rest of the head I'm just going to be using 20 volume. And I'm doing my signature gray blending technique where I utilize a lot of slices and tip outs for this transformation. And I'll take a center mohawk section, detail the front hairline, and then also add in some slices on the side to connect the sides to that center mohawk section. But as I go through and once I'm finished doing all the foils, I'm going to be separating the hair like this so that I can do her tip outs. And for this transformation, these tip outs are essential because this is what is going to really make everything blend really well. If I didn't add this part in her transformation, then it just wouldn't blend cohesively. Her roots would still look like they're lighter than the ends. So this part was really crucial, especially when a client has this amount of gray naturally at their root. This is the only way that it's going to give that effect to where the root is a little bit darker and then gets lighter towards the ends. And that's essentially what naturally like balayages and ombres that look is. It's where the root is a little bit darker and then gradually gets lighter towards the ends. And because she has all that permanent color on the mids and ends, I am going to pretty much tip out like literally everything. Like I want to try and get rid of as much permanent color as much as possible, because the next time she comes in, I don't want to worry about it too much. I really want to focus on just blending and enhancing her natural gray rather than correcting, because this one is really all about correcting. So now you can see her foils are ready. She lifted to about a clean level 9 and 10. Some areas though, I will say, did lift more so, like a level 9, and were a little bit warmer like expected because of her color history. But again, I already let her know that we might do more of a violet gray toner to kind of make it last longer, even though she did show me some inspiration photos of some blonde looks. Because of the way she lifted, this is going to also fade out to a really pretty ashy blonde before everything all fades out. And the reason why I like to tone them a little bit more pigmented is so that it lasts longer. Oftentimes if we do like a lighter toner on a client who is naturally this dark and has like coarser, more darker Asian hair, the toners tend to fade out a little bit quicker and fade yellow a lot sooner. So I always like to tone it out a little bit heavier and like just add in some more pigment and have them leave more richer in the gray tone or just like a darker tone so that it fades out, because all of these colors, all the grays, the silvers, violets, everything fades out. And I feel like when you tone it a little bit darker, it does last a little bit longer, and when it does fade out, it doesn't fade out as a yellow as it would if I were to tone her lighter. And then I did give my client a little bit of a trim before I started curling her. So right now I'm curling her with my favorite curling iron. This is the Olivia Garden 1.25" barrel, and I will start in the mid shaft of the hair, like more towards the root, and just start adding hair, leaving out, I would say leave out at least like 1.5 to 2 inches of the ends, and then just kind of twist it out like that before I add in some texture spray. And I like to set it with some Mill Bond texture spray before combing it out with a wide tooth comb, because I just feel like it gives it a very tousled textured look and gives a bit of hold.
How does everything feel?
Good. I just gotta get used to the color. I'm not used to the color yet.
Alrighty guys, so here is the final look. You can see how well the color is now going to blend in with her natural gray pattern as this starts to fade out. And you know, even though we did more of that violet-y tone, it looks more gray out here in the indirect sunlight in the front of the salon, more like a gunmetal gray. You can see her brown still like blended in at the root, but overall we were able to kind of highlight a lot of the ends out to kind of brighten them up and try and get rid of a lot of that brown out. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.